Hey guys, Dr. David Jockers here. Today I'm talking about 7 ways to boost your testosterone levels. We know that men have seen a 40% reduction in testosterone levels over the last 2 decades. That's a significant reduction. When I'm looking at overall testosterone levels on a blood test, I like to see it up over 800. We're seeing a lot of people coming back 300, 400, right? And they're told that's normal. And that may be common. A lot of men are in that range. However, it's not normal. We really should certainly be up over 500, and roughly, 800 to 1,000 is really more of a sweet spot there. But so many men are dealing with low testosterone levels, and testosterone plays a huge role in both male and female physiology. And so a lot of times we think about it for libido or muscle growth, but actually the most important area that testosterone plays a role in is actually our mental health. Testosterone plays a huge role in your ability to feel good about yourself, to have goals, to drive for things, to be pursuing the things that God has called you to pursue. And if your testosterone levels are low, oftentimes a lot of men and women will deal with mood disorders, depression, anxiety, low energy, complacency, poor sleep, and just overall metabolic dysfunction, and they just won't feel good, right? And they won't really be able to perform well. They won't be, their relationships will suffer, really everything in life suffers. And so it's really critical that we optimize testosterone levels so you can feel and function and be at your best. And clearly testosterone plays a critical role in your ability to build muscle tissue and to maintain that muscle tissue. And that's critical at any age, but particularly as people age, they develop something called sarcopenia, where they literally have muscle wasting, and also osteopenia, where their bone tissue starts to waste. We hear about women developing osteoporosis. Well, this is a testosterone deficiency, okay? Because that is a building anabolic hormone that's critical for bone tissue, and women need testosterone, right? They have lower levels, obviously, lower natural production levels than men, but they still need to produce it. And for men, we get sarcopenia as we age. A lot of men, especially as they get into middle age, are developing andropause, which is kind of a male form of menopause, where the men start to develop these bellies, right? Because they can't burn fat effectively. They lose muscle tissue. A lot of times they'll develop almost like breast tissue because they're not producing enough testosterone, and they have higher levels of estrogen. And when we have metabolic inflexibility, for men, oftentimes we have a higher level of this hormone or this enzyme called aromatase, which converts testosterone into estrogen. And so a lot of men have lower testosterone and higher estrogen, which can result in male, breast formation, for example, a large belly. I always say you should be able to look down and see your toes. If you can't because your belly's in the way, that is an issue, right? That's a sign of insulin resistance and poor metabolic flexibility. So enhancing your testosterone levels is absolutely critical for your brain health, your mental health, your physical health, muscle tissue, your libido, your ability to just feel great on a day-to-day basis. So here's 7 ways. Number 1, we got to improve the metabolic flexibility. At the root with low testosterone is going to be insulin resistance and the inability to go from burning sugar to burning fat. So we've got to improve our metabolic flexibility. I've done so many videos on this, but some of the key strategies are making sure that we're eating a lower carbohydrate diet, making sure that we're practicing some form of time-restricted feeding or intermittent fasting, making sure that we're exercising regularly. And a lot of the other things that I'm going to talk about as we go on really play a role in that metabolic flexibility, but that is the foundation, right? Getting the metabolic flexibility down is really the first step in optimizing our testosterone levels, whether you're a man or a woman. Number 2, eat enough protein. We need to eat good quality protein. A lot of people are protein deficient, amino acid deficient. So we need to eat enough, and we need to be able to break it down and digest it, right? And that depends on good stomach acid levels and good digestive health. So I recommend consuming at least a half to 1 full gram per pound of body weight, okay? And really, this has to do with your lean muscle tissue, your lean body weight. So if you're 350 pounds and you're 40% body fat, clearly you're not going to eat 350 grams of protein, but you might be 200 pounds of lean body mass and 150 pounds of fat, So you would try to consume more like 200 grams of protein on a daily basis then, or 100 to 200, I guess, a half to 1 gram. The more active you are, the more resistance training, strength training you're doing, the more you're going to lean into that 1 gram. The less of it, the more you can be around that 0.5, right? So if you're not doing a whole lot of strength training, you don't eat quite as much protein, and therefore, eating about half of your lean body mass in protein. So if you're a 200-pound man, eating roughly, 80 to 100 grams of protein a day, great if you're not doing a lot of resistance training. If you are doing a lot of strength training and you're really trying to build muscle, you'll want to consume closer to 150 to, maybe up to 200 grams of protein in a day. And I know it seems like a lot of protein, but really 1 gram of protein is only 4 calories. So for a 200-pound man, most 200-pound men that are very active are going to be consuming 3,000 calories or more. And 200 grams of protein is actually only 800 calories, right? So it's not that significant an amount. But we want to edge towards that 1 gram. The more active, the more we're lifting, right? And typically, and that's, a great strategy, and in fact, I have it right down here, lift heavy things, right? So one way to increase testosterone is lift heavy and then support it with good quality protein. But number 3 is just as important. Get rid of bad fats. Bad fats are going to be absolutely toxic and inflammatory on your body. That's going to be trans fats, so any sort of hydrogenated oils, partially hydrogenated oils. You want to make sure you get rid of that. You're going to find those in your ultra-processed foods, your donuts, your pastries, your potato chips that are out there, all that kind of stuff. Avoid those. Those things are blasting your testosterone levels, dropping your testosterone levels. Literally, if you're a man, they're turning you more into a female, right? And if you're a female, they're going to massively inflame you and completely throw off your hormones and cause you to just suffer, right? And so we want to get rid of those. We also want to get rid of the high omega-6 fats, the processed seed oils. So anything with canola oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, cottonseed oil, peanut oil, those oils we want to get rid of, okay? So we avoid those things. We stick with good, healthy fats. That's going to be things like olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. That's going to be your avocados, your coconut oil, your grass-fed butter, your pasture-raised eggs, your beef tallow, which is kind of the fat. It's basically like a concentrated beef fat. You can cook with it, beef tallow. Those are all really, really good fats that we want to be consuming. We want to get rid of, again, the bad fats. Number 4, reduce stress and improve sleep. That goes without saying. If you're stressed out, you're going to be releasing a lot of cortisol, and the more cortisol, stress hormones that you produce, the more you tell your body, I'm in a state of survival. I'm just trying to survive here, and therefore you're going to produce less of these anabolic regenerative hormones because, sexual reproduction, rebuilding new tissues, and regenerating tissues is not that important when you're really just trying to survive the moment. And so you got to put your body in a state where you are parasympathetic, right? Where you're rested, you're relaxed, you're calm, in order to produce a lot of these, anabolic, the testosterone that you need to thrive. And you need to improve sleep, right? We need good quality deep sleep and REM sleep in order to really produce enough growth hormone and enough testosterone. So really prioritize good sleep. I've done other videos. I've got some great blogs on sleep quality. That's something very, very critical that you do not want to overlook. So make sure you're doing that. Number 5 is lift heavy. There are certain exercises that are going to really stimulate testosterone production. We know exercise in general is great, but if you're going out and you're running 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, that's not going to improve your testosterone level. In fact, if anything, that's going to lower your testosterone level. That is not the kind of exercise. I mean, you could do a little bit of running, okay, but the exercises that are going to really push your testosterone are going to be large muscle group exercises that fire off a lot of different muscle fibers, both your type 1 and your type 2A and 2B muscle fibers, particularly large muscle group exercises like squats. Squats are probably the best. Squats and deadlifts are the top 2 for producing testosterone. And you want to get it to like a pretty heavy level, like, basically where you're doing 8 to 10 reps is hard, right? Somewhere in that range. And it's challenging to do 8 to 10 reps. That's a great range for maximal testosterone production. So squats, deadlifts, lunges, weighted lunges, great exercises because they're using a large amount of muscle fibers. Upper body exercises, some of them are pretty good, but they're not as good as the squats, deadlifts, and lunges. So the best upper body exercises are going to be like a bench press or a push-up, right? Especially if you do like an explosive push-up where you're kind of pushing yourself almost like flying, you're pushing yourself off the ground. Your hands are coming off the ground because you use so much explosiveness at the top of that movement. Bench press, overhead presses, things that are using multiple muscle groups. If you're just doing bicep curls, that's a low testosterone producing exercise. Okay, you want to do compound exercises. Things that are using multiple muscle groups. Bicep curls are prioritizing just one joint and just using your bicep. An overhead press, you're using your shoulders, triceps, you're using multiple joints, right? Because you got your elbow joint, you got your shoulder joint involved. Same thing with a bench press. A row, bent over row, fantastic exercise because you're also activating a lot of your hamstrings, your quads, and your glutes while you're doing the row exercise. So that's a great testosterone boosting exercise. So those are things that you want to be doing there. So lift heavy. We were built really to lift heavy things from time to time, okay? And so it's just really critical. If you want to maintain optimal muscle mass, optimal testosterone, you want to feel great, you need to be lifting heavy things from time to time. Some people really like doing it more than others. It really just depends on how you recover and your ability to reduce stress, improve sleep, get the right nutrition. That's going to help you recover better so you can get more bouts of that intense exercise. You obviously don't want to overtrain. If you're doing too much lifting and you're overtraining, you're feeling super sore, really low motivation to do any sort of exercise, you're just really tight, sore, you're not seeing any sort of gains, you may be overtraining, so you might need to cut back and really focus on these things right here, as well as these two right here, instead of so much. Just cut back a little bit on the lifting heavy. Sun exposure and red light therapy will actually enhance your recovery from exercise and enhance mitochondrial energy production and testosterone production. In fact, one reason why some men have very low testosterone is very low vitamin D levels. There's men that are exercising, they're weightlifting, they're trying to eat right, but they still have low testosterone. And that could be because of overload of toxins. We have a lot of endocrine disruptors, like if we're drinking out of plastic cups all the time, we're being exposed to microplastics. That is a potent estrogen mimicking compound. We call it a xenoestrogen that can throw off our testosterone levels. A lot of phthalates in there. A lot of different fragrances, or certain industries like people who do welding, maybe at a higher risk for lower testosterone. So if you're exposed to a lot of these kind of chemicals and toxins, we may need to do a deeper detox. But one thing that can really help is just sun exposure in general to drive up vitamin D, to activate the mitochondria. A lot of men notice huge increases, really significant, clinically significant, and mood boosting benefits when they're getting the sun exposure that they need on a regular basis, and supplementing that on days when they're not able to get good quality sun exposure with red light and infrared therapy, right? So these are certain biophotons that come from red light and infrared, which are really high at sunrise and sunset, but you can also get a device that actually just shoots red light. Like this is something I do almost every day. Shoots red light and shoots infrared, which penetrate deep into, red light is more surface level, gets your skin, really good for skin regeneration. Infrared gets deeper into the system. That's the one that's going to really get the testosterone going. And for men that are really struggling with testosterone, maybe they have a very low libido, actually doing red light and infrared, like literally on the testicular region, will actually increase the Leydig cells. There's Leydig cells that are the sperm-producing cells, will increase the mitochondrial activation in those cells. Research has shown to improve testosterone production. So actually like a direct exposure right down there can really dramatically improve testosterone. So that's kind of an advanced biohack. But then number 7 is getting cold. So getting cold is a hormetic stressor. It's a stressor on the body, but it's a hormetic stressor because it forces our body to adapt and it makes us more resilient. And part of that resiliency is the production of testosterone. So this could be something as simple as a 30 to 60 seconds at the end of your shower, you turn it cold, right? So you get in, it's warm, you do your soaping, all your necessary hygiene while it's warm. And then the last 30 to 60 seconds, you turn it cold and you just kind of get in it and you just kind of pump your arms like this, right? Just kind of flex your muscles and pump, and that will pump more blood. It will heat you up a little bit and will create more testosterone production, more nitric oxide release, which will enhance circulation, oxygenation, and again, that testosterone production. So you can do something as simple as that. You could also take it a more advanced step where you do like a cold plunge. And there's a lot of different things out there where people are buying cold plunges where they've got like a big, a big container, they fill it up, ice water, jump in that for a few minutes, and that also increases testosterone. People are seeing significant benefits when it comes to recovery from exercise. In fact, a lot of athletes, top athletes, they do this after, a football game or after a basketball game or after an intense training competition or training session. They'll actually get into an ice bucket, right? And that helps improve their recovery, stimulates testosterone for advanced tissue remodeling and tissue rebuilding, and really helps give them a performance enhancement. So those are the things you want to be doing right here. The foundation is, obviously getting the metabolic flexibility, really following the diet, keeping your stress and your sleep down, lifting heavy, absolutely critical things. And then you can stack it with getting cold, sun exposure, red light therapy for even more advanced benefits. So guys, this is a powerful video training. Please share it with anybody that you know and that you care about. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, now is the time to do that and hit the bell button. That way you get notified whenever we put up a new video. Thank you so much for being a part of our community. We'll see you guys in the next video training.